Now, the European Space Agency alongside NASA released some breathtaking and beautiful images of a particular galaxy that is not too far away from our galaxy. Really mind-blowing in terms of the power behind combining these two telescopes. One that we know of recently and the one that was dated a couple of years or decades ago. And it's really fantastic to see the power of these two telescopes when combined together to give these beautiful images. In this video, we're going to look at three images, one from that particular telescope, the other one from the other newer telescope, and also the middle image that actually shows the combination of these two images and how they are able to give us a beautiful explanation on how this particular galaxy works, and also a couple of interesting ideas concerning the future of this particular combination or collaboration. So please subscribe for more of these, and let's dive into this particular analysis. Now, looking at the first image, this image was released by the European Space Agency, and they actually showed us a couple of interesting hints into this particular galaxy, which is called the Messier 74, that is really far away from where we are, which is around 32 million light years away from the Perseus constellation. And it's really fantastic to see the in-depth detail of this general image here that shows, distinct colors that are two in nature. One is from the extreme point of view, which is more optical, and while the other one is more infrared in terms of the images, mainly the middle infrared region. And now you might notice, with all the talk I've been having over the past couple of videos about which telescopes are in that category, you should realize that yes, one is from the Hubble telescope, which is more of a strong vision of the ultraviolet, really close to the middle violet visual region, and while the James Webb telescope focuses mainly on the infrared wavelength, mainly at the middle part. And when you are now going to be thinking about how are the images of these two telescopes separated, how is it going to look like, and the two images we're going to display very soon is really fantastic in terms of giving us the details behind how one actually reveals some characteristics and why the other gives us a different characteristic of this one location, the Messier 74, in this particular video. So it's really wonderful to see how NASA collaborative efforts with this ESA agency are able to produce one of these type of images, and I'm really looking forward to how they'll be able to combine more images and bring those two powerhouses that show the relevance, most especially of the Hubble telescope, when we are actually taking all the news, or where all the news is taken away by the James Webb telescope. Yes, the Messier 74 galaxy is also known as the Phantom Galaxy, and according to a statement that was released by one of the representatives of the space agency, they said that by combining data from telescopes operating across the electromagnetic spectrum, scientists can gain great access and insight into astronomical objects than by using a single observatory. Now, even one as powerful as James Webb cannot beat combining these two telescopes images together. Yeah, you know that the name is a mouth filler, so I'm just going to keep it short by saying M74. And this M74, when you look closely, you notice how many stars that they have. This is actually a lot of stars, 100 billion stars, which is amazing. But then looking at the shape, you actually notice that it has two symmetrical arms, which is more under the subcategory of the spiral galaxies, which are known as the grand design spiral. That is totally new. Maybe I've known too much of the general galaxies in terms of their shapes, but I never knew that there are, of course, makes sense, more subcategories within a category. So maybe I have to do my research on one of those characteristics of the subcategories of the different galaxies, and you can check out my video on the general types of galaxies that are out there in terms of their symmetry. And we talked about when two galaxies they collide and they form some kind of new shape, how is it going to look like? Will it be more spiral, or will it be of a different type of shape, all those analysis is all the beauty behind the detail behind images that James Webb Telescope is going to be giving us, and how we can indeed combine those two telescopes images in future images that will be released hopefully. Now it is noted that the category that is the grand design spiral for this particular galaxy is because those arms are really well defined compared to other galaxies whose arms are not really well defined. That is why it's ultimately called the grand design spiral. So maybe it's the phantom, menace that is actually at play here. Too much Star Wars, forget about what I just said. Now on a separate image, we actually have one coming from only the James Webb Telescope, which is more of a really middle infrared region image, and this actually shows a superior understanding of the beauty behind how this reveals the gases and the dust that is actually forming that spiral outward from in the heart of this particular M74 galaxy. And it's really interesting to see how this clearly shows the nuclear star cluster at the center, and this is actually thanks to the lack of gas in that area for the James Webb Telescope compared to that of the Hubble telescope image, which actually shows not really definedly whether they are gases or not, but it's just really bright in that area. So it's really nice way to start from the Hubble telescope, see visually how it looks like, mainly in the ultraviolet, to the mid visual region, to more of like, okay, let's go to the extreme in terms of the ultraviolet region. Maybe in the future they might release a new telescope that will actually go further into longer wavelength other than that of the infrared, and so maybe more of radio waves, and it's going to be interesting to see how it looks like in terms of radio wave. I don't know how it's going to look like, but we're just enjoying this view. Or maybe let's go to the other extreme end outside of the visual region, more of like UV or maybe X-rays or gamma rays, how the image is going to look like when they translate everything back to visual regions. So interesting to think about that stuff. Another interesting importance to this infrared region visual of the James Webb Telescope is to be able to understand and search really well the study of early phases of star formation. And it's really interesting looking at it in terms of the Hubble telescope, where there are not many stars actually noticed. There are hints of stars, of course. However, James Webb telescope actually reveals more stars and how some stars are born and are formed during this particular region in terms of the high dust and cloud formation outward compared to what we have in terms of the Hubble telescope image that we have right there. Now looking closely at the color grading, what we notice is that the red color represents the dusts that are found in this particular galaxy, while young stars can be seen to be colored blue, as we see at the background here, while the other color, which is a little bit of yellow as we notice right over here and a little bit around, are known as older stars. Now the spooky green that we see right close to the center is actually where all the colors are combined, not only from this particular Hubble telescope yellow, but this blue region here, which is shown in the Webb's telescope that produces this combined image right over here. Now according to the statement, it states here that the addition of crystal-like Webb observations at long wavelength will allow astronomers to pinpoint star formations regions in the galaxies, accurately measuring the masses. That is really amazing to actually look at it and actually determine the mass of those particular stars that are being formed, also the age of those stars that are being formed, of the star clusters, and also gain really deep insight into the nature of the small grains that are of dust that are drifting in the interstellar space. And so this is really interesting to see all these huge wonderful potential that are going to be revealed in the future as more in-depth questions and analysis are going to be dove into this one image. And not only this one image, but many more images that will be coming up very soon. So this is really exciting. I'm really stoked for this. The beauty, the menace of all these wonderful images that are coming out, mainly from the phantom galaxy point of view, but also how you can combine these two telescopes and actually reveal some beautiful, maybe it's all about beauty and less of insight. I'm kidding. No, it's more insight and more beauty coming together to give us this awe and amazement of what this actual exploration has to offer. So I hope you found this really informative. Please hit the comment down below. Let me hear your thoughts about this particular image and also the two separate images and how you can actually overlap them together to have this new type of image and the potential of many more explorations and understanding of various galaxies that are out there. All the same, stay smart as always and believe in yourselves.